From the turbulent streets of Africa to the conflictive corners of the Middle East and Latin America, this account uncovers raw and complex realities that keep the world in suspense. Prepare for a journey full of emotions, where intrigue is woven into every word, and darkness reveals its secrets before our eyes. Are you ready to see it? Let's start. 1. Mali, the gale of instability in West Africa. Mali, the troubled jewel of West Africa, is crowned the world's most dangerous country in 2023. Since the military coup in 2012, the country has been immersed in a chaotic dance of violence and political instability. The presence of militant groups and growing intercommunity violence aggravate the situation. Social security is collapsing, conflict persists and militarization soars, forging the cocktail that puts it at the top of this grim list. 2. Ethiopia, between conflict and humanitarian crisis. In second position, we find Ethiopia, facing a heartbreaking humanitarian crisis due to the conflict in Tigray. Reports of human rights abuses, forced displacement and famine-like conditions trigger a sharp drop in the peace index. Internal conflict, political instability, and the deterioration of human rights are the protagonists that push Ethiopia towards the precipice of danger. 3. Myanmar, the fragile fabric of democracy torn. In Southeast Asia, Myanmar stands as the third most dangerous country in the world. The 2021 military coup has torn apart peace and stability, plunging the country into a humanitarian crisis. Brutal military repression, conflicts with armed ethnic groups and political instability paint a bleak picture. Rampant violence, social unrest and political instability weave the narrative of Myanmar's dangerousness. 4. Libya, Gaddafi's lingering shadow. In fourth place, Libya is struggling to free itself from the shadow of Muammar Gaddafi since his fall in 2011. Rival militias, local factions and foreign powers compete fiercely for control. Despite attempts to form a unified government, political volatility persists. Violence, internal conflicts and high militarization place Libya in fourth position on this worrying list. 5. North Korea, between nuclear threats and authoritarian rigidity. The fifth most dangerous country on the planet is North Korea, wrapped in its cloak of authoritarian rule, nuclear threats and international conflicts. High levels of militarization, social security concerns, and conflict, both internal and external, contribute to its position on this risk list. 6. Nigeria and the dark dance of Black Axe. On the vibrant streets of Nigeria, the ominous presence of Black Axe manifests itself, a gang that has woven its web in darkness. Originating in Nigerian universities, this fraternity has metamorphosed into a darker entity, engaging in criminal activities ranging from drug trafficking to wanton violence. Black Axe's roots are intertwined with society, even penetrating government sectors. The violence they unleash not only affects their rivals, but also entire communities, sowing fear and insecurity. Authorities are struggling to eradicate this pest, but the network spreads like a vine in the urban jungle. 7. Dominican Republic, San Lorenzo and his dangerous symphony. In the colorful lands of the Dominican Republic, the San Lorenzo neighborhood emerges as a focus of complexities and challenges. Here, the bands weave a dangerous symphony that resonates in the narrow and vibrant alleys of the neighborhood. The socio-economic reality of San Lorenzo has cultivated fertile ground for the formation and proliferation of gangs. The fight for territorial control between these gangs results in bloody clashes and a constant sense of danger for residents. Poverty, lack of opportunities, and disconnection from basic services contribute to the perpetual cycle of violence that engulfs San Lorenzo. 8. South Sudan, among the shadows of instability. Across the vast plains of South Sudan, political instability and ethnic conflict cast a lingering shadow. Since independence in 2011, the country has grappled with internal fighting, mass displacement and ethnic tensions. Lack of resources and fragile infrastructure further complicate efforts to achieve stability. South Sudan stands at a crossroads, with the path to peace appearing elusive. 9. Syria, the scars of war continue. The scars of the civil war in Syria, which began in 2011, remain deep and painful. Despite efforts to find a political solution, the conflict persists, affecting the civilian population. Mass displacements, the destruction of infrastructure and the presence of extremist groups keep Syria in the eye of the storm. The international community is seeking paths to stability, but the future remains uncertain. 10. Afghanistan, an uncertain path after withdrawal. With the withdrawal of international troops in 2021, Afghanistan faces a new stage in its history marked by uncertainty. The rise of the Taliban and the search for political balance tests the country's resilience. The fight for stability and reconstruction is at a crucial point, as Afghanistan seeks to find its way in a changing world. And since we know that you want to know more, we leave you this plus. 11. Venezuela, political crossroads and humanitarian crisis. In the Western Hemisphere, Venezuela finds itself at a political crossroads and faces a deep humanitarian crisis. The economic situation, food and medicine shortages, and political polarization contribute to a challenging outlook. The struggle for power and the search for solutions at the national and international level configure the scenario in which Venezuela seeks to regain stability. 12. Honduras, between violence and vulnerability. In Central America, Honduras stands out as a country that faces significant challenges. Violence related to organized crime, corruption and social vulnerability create a dangerous cocktail. Mass migration and the fight for control of territories further complicate the path towards peace and sustainable development. 13. Yemen, the attrition of the civil war. Yemen, at the tip of the Arabian Peninsula, has been engulfed in civil war since 2015. Triggering an unprecedented humanitarian crisis. Conflicts between rival factions, along with the intervention of regional powers, have left a trail of destruction. The lack of access to food, water and medical care has exacerbated the suffering of the population, causing Yemen to remain on the list of most dangerous countries. 14. Mexico, between drug trafficking and violence. In Latin America, Mexico faces persistent challenges related to drug trafficking and violence linked to drug cartels. The fight for control of trafficking routes, institutional corruption and constant pressure on security forces create a tense atmosphere. Despite the efforts of the Mexican government, violence remains a significant concern in several regions of the country. What do you think? Thanks for joining us. If you liked this video, don't forget to like it, share your comments and subscribe to our channel for more fascinating stories. Until next time.